advancing our city, loving our children, protecting our families.
Welcome to Women for Progress Radio Network, now celebrating 8 years of advocacy and action. Please listen to this show every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. exclusively on 90.1 FM WMPR, the voice of the community. Here, the goal of this program is to create dialogue that plugs the community to disclose and share particular strategies which could empower our audience to make a true difference in livelihood for themselves and their neighbors. Now you're invited to Studio B as we join our host and their guests on WMPR.
Unity. We are changing community.
Good evening. Today is Thursday, March 21st, 2019, and you are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WMPR 90.1. I am Tiffany Hathorn, your host, and I have my co-host here, Mary Williams. And if this is your first time listening to Women for Progress Radio, you can go to womenforprogress.net, that's our website, and get some more information about our organization. There you'll find information about our membership and upcoming events. And also you can listen live on that website as well. Also, you can connect with us through Facebook at Women for Progress. You can connect with us on Facebook as well. As I said before, I'm Tiffany Hathorn, owner of Envy Salon and Spa. And Ms. Williams, please introduce everyone and tell everyone about you, just in case for those who don't know who you are.
Hi, I'm Mary Williams. I am a registered nurse, and I am also the CEO and founder of Pearls of Wellness, which is 2 R's, no A, which is a health coaching business. And I also have a nonprofit of Ladies Living Well. And I'm a member of Women for Progress, and I am thrilled to be co-hosting today.
I'm glad you're here as well. All right, and we have also with us today Miss Ada Robinson. She's going to tell us about the Scott Ford Gospel Explosion.
Exactly. Saturday, March the 23rd, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at our Alamo Theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's a friend fundraiser, and we're going to be honoring those dynamic Hinds County women who sit as judges.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Ford House Inc.'s dream is to become a midwife museum, a museum complex. And a lot of people say, a midwife, do they still practice? In different places around the country, they do practice, but we are blessed in Jackson, Mississippi, to have 2 homes that were previously owned by the midwives, Mary Scott and Virginia Scott Ford, who were ex-slaves in 1892 and discovered that they could borrow money to purchase a home, and they did. And they built those homes on Cohee Street in the historic Ferris Street district. What we hope to do in both the homes is to, one, tell the story of midwifery. So anyone who has a midwife in their life, grandmother, great-grandmother, auntie, and you know about them, give us a call at 601-942-2224. And we want to share your story. We want to interview you and put you in our kiosk. What we're celebrating on the 23rd is a gospel explosion. We have Miss Lanny Spann McBride. We have Miss Tiffany, a gospel rap person. We have the Maya Ministry of Daniel Harris. We have the Pineywood Blossom Singers.
Okay, awesome. And a little bit later, we're going to be playing a little bit of music from Miss Tiffany the Rapper.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And we thank you for coming in and giving us that information, and we look forward to it.
I look forward to seeing everyone at the Alamo Theater Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m.
All right, thank you. Dr. Quinn?
How you ladies doing? Are we in the man cave or are we in the ladies cave?
We are in youth edition today.
Oh, wow, the young people. Well, I'll tell you, tonight I'm actually in the exam room with some patients, and they're two young teenagers. So most of them are here for a problem, and I have the same problem. Everybody's got a little sore throat, a little runny nose, and a lot of the little guy, he said, Dr. Quinn, why am my nose running all this time? And I was explaining to him that the deal is right now in the spring, we have all the beautiful flowers and trees coming about. And what happens is God makes it so that the plant life produces pollen, and it pollinates all the other plant life, and it just starts to grow and be so beautiful. But in the interim of all that, a lot of people are allergic to the pollen. So what happens is the pollen gets into your system when you go outside, and it causes you to have runny nose and itchy eyes and sneezing all over the place. And some people will start coughing. When you have asthma, it can exacerbate your asthma, and you can get really sick. So basically, just want to get some quick tips on how you can fight off those pollen allergies. Number one, now Dr. Quinn is going to tell you a way you can fight off without even have to go to the doctor. That's right. You can go to Walgreens or Walmart or CVS, and the first step is to try antihistamines. And they're over the counter, so you don't need a prescription. These include like Zyrtec, Allegra, Claritin, and now there's one called Zydol, and they're all equally good, and you just take them every day. And for some people, that'll be 100% effective, but then some might need a little bit more. The second step would be to continue to take the antihistamines, but then you add a nasal spray called Flowmate. That's over the counter as well. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to go to the doctor to get a prescription. Now, in the event that does not work, or a lot of people out there like my patients here who've been doing that before they came, then the next step would be to go to the doctor, and he might prescribe a decongestant such as Sudafed. The thing about Sudafed is you have to have a prescription at time because it's a controlled substance, and take it to the pharmacy. And then if you start getting fever, you want to take an antibiotic, but that would have to be prescribed by a physician and after an evaluation to make sure you really need it.
Okay.
Great.
That's good information. Now, Dr. Quinn, what do you suggest for those of us who might be dealing with red or itchy eyes? Do you recommend using those, like the Clear Eyes and those over-the-counter eye drops?
I say try them to see if they work, but for some people out there, because here's the deal, different people have different levels of sensitivity to allergies. Some people need a little bit more, and for those that need a little bit more, maybe you get the really, really burning eyes, you could try the prescription strength, which means you got to go to a doctor for these, but they're prescription strength antihistamine eye drops, which are very good. So basically the take-home message is, first, I'm laughing at my little baby in the room with me. She's having a good time. But the first step is to try over-the-counter remedies, such as antihistamine and the steroid nasal spray. And in the event that these do not work, the second step would be to go ahead and go see your doctor, and then he'll try different remedies. Now, for some out there, this does not even work, and they may refer you to what's called an allergist. And allergists will do something called skin sensitivity testing, where they'll prick your skin with a needle, introducing different things like grass, pollen, and all this to find out what you're allergic to, and you can get the allergy shots once a week. So these are just the steps to treating the allergy, but the good news is the pollen doesn't last forever, and we end up with the beautiful flowers of the spring.
Oh, great. But Dr. Quinn, also, I know, like you're saying, it's allergy season, so it's really bad. What about some natural remedies? Like I've heard people talk about, like using honey, like homegrown honey, or even like a lot of the nasal flushes that people are doing now. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, these are good as well. You know, as I was saying earlier, different people respond in different ways to different treatments. I'm not averse to, trying the natural remedies such as you mentioned, such as the honey, the hot tea, the nasal flushes. All these are options. And I say just try everything. But in the event that someone were to develop a severe fever, maybe a productive cough, then it's a good idea to go ahead and see the doctor because that might mean you're getting an infection. Another thing to remember natural is when you get into your home in the evening, go ahead and take off all your clothing that you were wearing while you were outside and put them in the dirty clothes in another room and go ahead and take a shower. Because if the pollen is on your clothes and on your skin, then you're exposed to it while you're in the home in the night. So these are just some ways that you can fight the pollen allergies. So just remember, everybody is different. So different people respond differently. So, you might have to go see a doctor again. Like I said, some people might actually have to go see an allergist.
Thank you for that information. I never thought about that, taking our clothes off as soon as we come into the house so that the pollen doesn't transfer into our homes, into our carpet and furniture and things of that nature. Now, I've heard on the news some conflict about, a lot of people using the neti pot. Something about amoeba getting into the nose from the tap water that people might be using in the neti pots. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with it, but one thing you want to remember is hygiene. Standing water is a good reservoir for different types of pathogens, such as amoeba, which is a parasite. So if you use the neti pot, what you want to do is when you finish using it, wash it out, dry it very well, and let it sit upside down so there's no standing water. Because some people might use the neti pot and then they'll just leave it with the water in it, and then maybe the water would just be standing for, maybe 2 or 3 days, and that's what can lead to infection in the water. So you want to keep it dry. That's the main thing. But if you keep it pretty sanitary and dry, it should be safe.
And we should also be doing the same thing with those nasal sprays as well. After we use those, wiping those down to make sure they're sanitized the next time we use them, correct?
That is a good idea. And really what you can also do to kind of help with the sanitation is use alcohol and maybe wet a Q-tip or a gauze and then wipe off the part where your nose was, and that'll just keep it clean because, like I said, bacteria, they're always looking for a good reservoir to grow, and that can lead to infection as well. But the main thing is you want to watch out for fever. If somebody starts developing fever or productive cough, go ahead and get them to the doctor. And also, let's be on the lookout for our loved ones who have asthma because the pollen can definitely exacerbate asthma, and somebody can end up with an asthma attack and end up in the emergency room.
Great information. And that's what I was going to say also, even with the nasal sprays, of, like you said, of being conscious of the sanitary, no matter which type of method you're using. Because like with my son, I have to make sure he wipes it after he uses it. So that's some good information.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And just remember, if it's not working, go ahead and check out the doctor. And for some people, they like to get that Decadron shot. That's a steroid shot. It works really well. Have about 3 people in the waiting room right now talking about Decadron. So we're going to get the shots going on. But you all have a good evening and just fight that pollen. But remember, we're going to have those beautiful flowers coming about.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quinn. We appreciate you, and you have a good weekend, okay?
Have a
Hey,
good
you
one.
do the same.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. You are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WNPR 90.1. Again, this is Tiffany Hathorn, and I'm with my co-host, Mary Williams. We're going to be joining back with Miss Ada Robinson, and she's going to finish telling us about the information for the
Downtown Gospel Explosion. Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m. at the Alamo Theater, and it's free. You're going to be treated to some wonderful local music, LOV, the Antioch Men's Quartet, New Hope Men's Quartet, and our star performer is Miss Tiffany, who is a gospel rapper. She's an actor. She was on Queen Sugar. She was a farmer on Queen Sugar. She's been around for a while, and she does a marvelous job. So we're going to try and get just a little bit of Miss Tiffany's music. Gospel comes in many forms, and we're having every form possible. We have Lanny Spann McBride, we have an opera bass, tenor bass performer, we have young people, we have seniors, we have Lanny Spann McBride, we have a little bit of it all. We've got the Ferry Street Baptist Church Gospel Choir. We invite you to come and just enjoy the music and praise with us at the Downtown Gospel Explosion, 5 to 8 p.m. Saturday, March the 23rd. After you leave that parade, come on down to Ferry Street, Alamo Theater.
Thank you.
Yeah. Miss Ada, did you say it was a fundraiser also?
There's no fee to come in the door, but free is not free.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say free ain't free. And we will be asking for donations for sure. But we want to do friend raising. We want people to become aware of the fact that the Scott Ford Midwives homes will be open as a museum. And we have 2 major events a year. So October, the first Saturday in October from 11 to 5, we'll have a folk festival. We have music, we have dancing in the street, we have the line dancers come and teach dancing. We had watermelon spitting contests last year. We had jump rope. We had a quilter, Miss Faye, who taught the people who were interested in how to make a quilt. And we had one participant who came early, and by the time she left, she had a baby quilt.
Awesome.
Wow.
So we're looking back at who we were, how we were, and our plan is to teach our children when they say, Mama, how did y'all live back in the day? We can say, these are the things we did to entertain ourselves. These are the things we did to sustain ourselves. Because the midwife worked with the woman before she had her baby and after she had her baby to help them get through postpartum depression or whatever. But that was a time the midwife was our only saving grace because we were not allowed as black people to be in hospitals, to have that special care that we need. Then at some point, the switch was flipped and we were not allowed to have. So they begun to push down the skills of the midwife. But midwives were so very important to most of us back in the day.
Yes. And quilting is becoming a lost art that we need to regain. That was part of our tradition where we told stories, where we took pieces of our family and put into that quilt. We had quilting circles where we came together. So, yes, that's something that we definitely need to start,
And a well-kept secret is that the Jackson Medical Mall has a quilting class. And you can go and they will teach you how to quilt, help you learn how to use the sewing machines and sew. So it's at the Jackson Medical Mall.
What organization is? Okay, just as something.
The Jackson Medical Mall Foundation sponsors this group of people. I'm not sure the exact name of them, but the Medical Mall sponsors them.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming in, Ms.
having a
Robinson.
great event.
And I'll see y'all on Saturday, 5 o'clock.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now joined with Miss Stacia Dunson. She is with Harmony House Calls and Medical Services. Miss Dunson, how are you doing this today?
I'm doing well this evening.
Good.
Tired from a long day of taking care of patients, but great. It's what I do, so
Yeah.
hey, that's what I do every day. So it is a blessing to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to come in.
Thank you for coming. Please tell us about what you do with the Harmony House Calls.
So Harmony House Calls, which is also now Harmony Medical Services, started out in July of last year. It's just house calls, going out to assisted livings and homes, seeing patients and residents for the elderly community that had a hard time going to doctor's offices, or when they were there, being there all day, that tiring them out. So I wanted to bring in something that would give them a more of a personal touch in their home, where I could actually visualize their setting, see what's actually going on in the home that could actually be contributing to their illness. So it started out for that particular reason. I stepped away out on faith, left my full-time job, and just said, we're going to do this with the support of my husband. Just stepped out, and it took off. God wasn't through with me yet, so people kept seeing me, saying, you can't leave clinical practice. You're too great at what you do. And I love clinical practice, caring from a child, starting at the age of 5. I don't do babies, but starting at the age of 5 up until 100 years old, because I've had a patient that age. we ended up evolving in October to Harmony Medical Services, which is a walk-in clinic. We do appointments as well, and that's my life. That's what I do every day. So now I do house calls. I do assisted living at 2 popular facilities here in Jackson, as well as have my clinic, which is on Lakeland Drive, where I do care for urgent care, acute care, and chronic care management.
Okay, and what are your hours at the clinic?
Mondays, I'm there from 8 to 1. Tuesdays, Thursdays, all day. Wednesdays, I'm currently working in another facility, so I'm not there. My Mondays afternoons, I go back. They're limited to the assisted livings. That is my day that I commit to them, that afternoon between my 2 facilities. And then on Fridays, I'm there in the afternoons. Okay. And so the hours on Fridays are 12:30 to about 3:30.
Okay.
Okay. And I know you said initially with Harmony House Call. So do you do referrals, or how do you, how if somebody wanted to, had a loved one at home or elderly person that they wanted to have you come out to see as far as a house call, how would they go about doing it?
Well, calling the clinic, the number that we have set aside for our practice, it is for both services. So someone can call in. I've also been contacted via Facebook, by Messenger, also Google. People send me messages. In the assisted livings, I'm called by the facilities that someone wants your services. So various means, word of mouth. And so most of the time people call in and say, hey, we Google me on Facebook or online and say we want our parent or someone to come in and see you either in the home or office. And we just set it up, do the paperwork, and if they qualify under the Medicare guidelines, a house call can happen.
Okay.
There are some commercial insurance plans that do allow house calls, very far few in between, but most of the time for the elderly population, it's open field.
Okay.
It's wide open.
Now, you mentioned that you go in the home and you can identify some things that might be triggering their medical condition. What are some things that might be in the home that can increase the symptoms of what someone might be going through?
Cleanliness of the home. Sometimes I'll go in there and I realize that the house may not be in the best sanitary condition. And so sometimes we have to bring in home health or some sitter services, or people that I know that work, have their own cleaning agency, can come in and kind of assist their family to get things in order, because we know clean house affects an unclean house can affect our body and our overall well-being. In the home, I also can tell if the patient is truly taking their medicine. They may say, I'm picking up my prescriptions, but I can go to the home and identify maybe this patient doesn't have their prescriptions, and I find out why, and it's because I can't afford it. Right. So I'm not picking it up, whereas in a doctor's office, all we see is that day. So we don't know what happens outside of that. And then where they live can also be an issue. So I look at a wide variety of it all.
Okay.
Oh, great. And then I was going to say, being a nurse myself, and I also do case management. So I'm working with homeless veterans. So even when you talk about, we know, research has shown people heal better and they get better in their own environment. Versus coming into a hospital, because a lot of times you get sicker in a hospital.
Correct.
So, and that was going to be my next question as far as insurance, but you do work with them as far as Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance?
We take all insurances. I even work with those that may not have insurance. We set up some type of payment arrangement for them to get the care they need, because I don't feel a person should be limited in the amount of care they get based on what insurance they have or the lack of it. So, when you have a passion for what you do, you go above and beyond to make sure that person is taken care of.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's what we do, of course, as nurses.
As nurses, yes.
So
I always tell people
great.
I'm a nurse first, so that nurse part of me, sometimes I jump in a lot more than I may supposed to jump in to assist, because I just love that compassion, that caring aspect. And sometimes that's what makes the difference in giving that patient what they need.
Yeah. I think that's a great service. That's a great service.
Thank you for calling Women for Progress, WNPR Radio. How are you?
Hey, good evening. How are you? This is Patty Patterson. I want to ask your guest about the diabetic foot care maintenance, because I'm a specialist, been doing this for 30 years, and I've been doing house calls and office calls and nursing homes as well. Are you all willing to add this piece in? Because there are a lot of nail tech manicurists out here that can get certified under you to do the maintenance and can go to the health department, get that certificate, and they have to carry, I know, their own liability if they're working as independents like I did with Stay Home Health. So because that's so that's needed, whether they're diabetic or not, because they're living with stroke, heart disease, and things like that. That's part of the whole total well care. So I can give you my number.
That
You
would
can
be
call me
that would
because
be
I know
great.
you only got a few minutes left.
And I guess you were reading my mind, and God is working, because I actually have been looking for someone to connect with for this reason. For the
Yeah,
purpose
and
that
it's interesting that you can train other retire or people that just want to go on don't want to have a full-time business in the on that manicure side or the nail tech side, whatever you want to call yourself. But just to go in and service our citizens that are just homebound, that's such a great service. And sometimes I don't even get paid. I just love doing it. And I got some clients that overpay that make up for the clients that can't pay.
Exactly. And I think it's a great service. So let's definitely connect.
Okay, my number should be popped up on that system there. If not, let me know. I can give it over the air. I'm okay with that.
No, we don't want to share your number over the air, but
I'm good with it. I'm good. I'm okay with it.
Let me give you her number. She can reach. You can reach her at.
You can call the office at 601-300-3935.
Is it 300?
Yes, ma'am. 300-3935.
And who I'm asking for?
You can just ask for me, and they'll send me a message.
Okay.
And let them know that you talked to me over the air.
Great show.
Yes.
Great information out there. We just have to be warriors out here for our seniors.
That is exactly right.
Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. Have a blessed one. Goodbye.
How amazing is that, making connections?
I know, over the air.
Over the air, exactly.
I mean, I learned some information myself. I'm a nail technician, and I didn't know that we could do that.
With the proper training, yes. So that is great for you as well.
And I've actually had my training. I've had 2 years experience with a podiatrist, so that'd be awesome.
And diabetic foot care is so important. We I actually have a patient with dealing right now, and to have that service to come out to their facility to help that patient will be great.
Yes.
Because it's hard to treat, and we all know diabetes is one of those disease processes that affects the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. And without our feet, we cannot walk. Without our hearts, we cannot live. And so having all of these services on board, going into the home, executing that care the patient needs, it'll make all the difference, and it saves lives, improving overall health in a person. And so I just think it's great. So I'm excited about what she has to offer.
Definitely. And I was going to add, like you were saying, with diabetic foot care, is so important because, especially in our community, because you see so many amputations.
Yes.
Because often with a neuropathy, they don't feel when they've gotten an injury. And, a lot of times they're injured and it gets infected and they lose a leg, a toe or whatever. So that is such a great piece added into the total treatment for diabetes, and especially, of course, because it affects our community
more than
most.
others. Yes. And the lack of education that a lot of our community has in regards to diabetic foot care and the overall diabetes. As we hear everybody talk about sugar diabetes, well, they don't understand sugar diabetes affects the entire body. They think, it's just my pancreas, or I may lose a toe. They don't understand. You can lose your sight or your kidneys. You can lose your vision. If you don't have eyes, you can't see. That leads to diabetic retinopathy, which damages the eyes, leading to blindness. We have heart attacks. We have strokes. I fuss at my patients all the time. We have got to get this controlled. But, of course, it starts with me and you working as a team. But when you leave the office or when I leave your home, it's going to fall on you. But as your provider, I'll do anything that I can to make sure that you're taken care of. But, prevention is the key.
It is.
So what we learn on the front end, because my ultimate plan is to start having like diabetic education classes and just overall health and wellness classes with different chronic diagnosis to try to combat a lot of this mortality that we're seeing. I've been in this field as a nurse practitioner 7 years, been in nursing about 14, almost 15 years, and just things that I've seen in the hospital to the nursing home to the assisted livings and even in clinic setting is just, it blows your mind.
Wow.
If only if a person knew what to do on the front end.
Yeah, definitely. And I always tell my family members, they know I get like on a soapbox when it comes to diabetes and hypertension, because it's like two of the most preventable diseases that we have, but it's two of the ones that affect us the most, and that usually, we end up dying or, just really diminishing our quality of life. And it's like two of the most preventable. So it is. I mean, we really need to get out there with more information and more hands-on.
Yes.
You know, in our community. You know, with our people that look like us. I'll say. Definitely.
So again, we are listening to Stacia Dunson, Harmony House Calls and Medical Services. Please tell us again how everyone can get in contact with you, especially people who are interested in connecting with you and helping you with services.
All right, the way to reach us, our number is 601-300-3935. We're located at 7 Lakeland Circle West, Suite 500. That is across the street from Penn's. If everybody knows about Penn's Fish House on Lakeland, I'll just throw that out there. We are on the opposite side of the street, so we are not in Rankin County. I chose to stay in Jackson so that I could service my patients because taking care of home is our first priority.
Yes.
So 601-300-3935.
And is there an email?
You can send me an email at sdunson@harmonycarems.com.
Okay. Thank you. And as again, Stacia Dunson is our Women-Owned Business of the Month, and we appreciate you for coming in, taking the time to share us with your information and the business that you're. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a great opportunity.
All right.
Have a blessed one.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, you are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WNPR 90.1, and we are moving into our Wellness Matters with Mary Williams. All right, Mary.
I know y'all already heard my voice before as the co-host, but this is a segment that I do on this Thursday, and it's Wellness Matters, and just kind of talking about wellness. I really like. I saw something on Facebook this week, and I shared it actually, where it says health is a state of body and wellness is a state of being. And I truly do believe that because wellness is a holistic point of view where you're taking care of your body, mind, and soul. And you know, if you don't take care of yourself, then you know you can't take care of anybody else. You know, you've never seen a person that's sick or ill in their own bodies and, you know, trying to take care of another sick and ill person in their body. So we really have to take care of ourselves. And one of my goals, I usually try to set my goals for the year at the beginning of the year. And, you know, and I kind of adapt a word. So one of my words for 2019 was self-care. Mm-hmm. Just really thinking about my own health, my own wellness, because especially as women, you know, we put ourselves on the bottom of our list. You know, we put everybody before us, everything before us. But we just have to realize that, you know, we just can't take care of everybody else and neglect ourselves. Right. You know, and then even as with having children, like I have 2 daughters and I have a son, and I want to teach my children also by modeling, you know, take care of yourself. Like, you know, you have to be a priority. Because sometimes, you know, we say we don't have time. You know, I'm too busy to eat right. I'm too busy to exercise. But, you know, I guarantee you'll be less busy with taking all those medications than if you put the time in on the front end to actually, you know, go out and exercise. And, you know, you don't have to have a gym membership. You can get outside and walk, especially now. You know, since it's getting nice outside. And I know, like Dr. Quinn said, the pollen is really bad right now. So if you got allergies, you know, you might have to limit being outside. But, you know, getting outside and taking a walk, you know, just, you know, adding a little bit of fruit, a little more fruits and vegetables into your daily eating, just like the small things. And one thing also that we're doing this month on Facebook with a lot of group, and actually your mom, Miss Willie Jones, is the president of Women for Progress, is doing it with me. We're doing a 20-day mental wellness challenge. And it's just every day, I post every day on Facebook, just something that we have to do. So we're on day 11 actually. And today was just to go outside and enjoy outside, have your lunch outside. Mm-hmm. So every day it just kind of tells you something to do. Like we, you know, make 5 short-term goals. Mm-hmm. Make an epic salad. Like one day, you know, and post a picture of that salad that you made. So it's just really being intentional. Because often, you know, we kind of take our health for granted and take our wellness for granted. But, you know, with this challenge is just being intentional. And I also believe in accountability because I'm one of those people that I need the accountability. Right. I need somebody to be expecting me to do something because if it's just me, I may not do it. Right. But if I know that, you know, I need to get to the gym because I have a, a partner there waiting for me. If I know if we're saying no sugar and I have somebody else that's saying, okay, I know we're not supposed to be eating sugar. So I need that accountability. So, and research even shows that, when you have another person doing something with you, or even if you're writing it down, or if you're accountable, you're more apt to do it, and you're more apt to continue and be consistent with it. So that's just something that we're doing. So, just a few tips and some areas just to look at when it comes to wellness, getting sleep, because a lot of times, like they say, we burn the candle at both ends because we're a busy society. We got a lot going on, which is a good thing sometimes. But you still have to put in and schedule in, time to sleep and rest, because that's when your body has that time to rejuvenate physically. Your cells rejuvenate, as well as gives your brain a chance to rest and decompress. Eating, like I said before, just doing some small changes, adding in a little bit more fruits and vegetables into your daily meals, and then getting out, like I said, with exercising, and then managing stress, because just being a nurse, and even just like Miss Stacy was saying earlier, stress, affects every part of your body. From the top of your head to the soles of your feet. So we really need to learn to manage our stress better, and, from meditation to prayer to, just actually sitting down and just being quiet, and even deep breathing. I know even with your spa and different things, massages, just something that you can do where, it takes you away from the hustle and bustle of the day. So just really getting more in tune and being more intentional about our wellness.
And these are small steps, but they make a huge impact, because we were talking earlier about diabetes and high blood pressure, how those are two of the most preventable diseases. And if we be mindful and take the time to do these things, then we can lessen the symptoms that we might have from these diseases. And even if you're not struggling with the disease, stress can, like you said, really do some damage to your body, permanent damage sometimes. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right. Again, you are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WMPR 90.1. Today, our theme is parenting and mentoring today's youth. And the reason why I say today's youth, I have two boys of my own. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And it seems like today's children are a little bit different from when I grew up as a child and some older generations. Just today's, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just that our children, they are learning different. They are becoming different people in the world. And so we kind of have to change up our parenting a little bit. We have to make sure that they are in organizations and a part of activities where they're getting that mentorship, where they're getting that foundation that they need as they grow up in today's society. Because there's some things that's going on in this world that I didn't have to deal with, and I know my mother didn't have to deal with. And so we have to kind of change how we are parenting our youth.
Definitely.
So today we're joined by Miss Jennifer Rawls and her son, Ruben Banks. I asked Miss Rawls here because you are the mother of Ruben Banks, and he is an awesome individual. And I wanted you to come today to share with us on some of the things that you did to help to raise your son into the young man that he's grown into. And before you tell us about that, I want to introduce Ruben and let the audience know who he is. Cadet Ruben Banks of Jim Hill School has been selected for the 2019 United States Senate Youth Program. He and Kennedy Guest of Brandon were selected from among the state's top student leaders to take part in the USSYP. The students will join Senators Roger Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith in representing Mississippi in the nation's capital during the 57th annual USSYP Washington Week was already held March 2nd through the 9th, 2019. Only 104 students make up the entire national delegation. Each member will receive a $2,000 $2,000 college scholarship for undergraduate study. Banks is graduating senior at Jim Hill High School. He serves as the school's Student Government Associate President and past governor of Magnolia State, Mississippi Boys State 2018. He is the Jackson Public Schools JROTC Brigade Commander and has recently been awarded the Legion of Valor Bronze Cross Award. Banks has also served for the past 4 years as a member of the United States Air Force Auxiliary Civil Air Patrol. He is also a member of the FEMA's Youth Preparedness Council. Banks is the president of the Jackson Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, Kappa League, and was featured last spring as an amazing teen by the Jackson Free Press. This is a remarkable young man, and I quickly come to appreciate him for his drive, his leadership, his achievements, and his humility, said the JPS Superintendent, Dr. Eric L. Green. I am very proud of Mr. Banks and excited to celebrate his continued success. So thank you, Ms. Ross, for joining us today. Thank you, for Mr. Banks, for joining us today as well. Please, Ms. Ross, tell us some things that you did to help grow this young man into the man that he is today.
Glory be unto God. I thank you for allowing us to be here. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I knew in my heart that I was going to be a mother one day. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking God to help me to be a good mother. Mm-hmm. That's all I knew to ask for. Mm-hmm. And as I grew older and knew what motherhood was all about, I began to pray and ask God to help me to bring children to the world to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. Mm-hmm. So, and I wanted to be married when I started having children. God blessed me to marry his father, Reuben Banks. He's live in Canton or Camden. And when we got married, we made a decision that we wasn't going to take any kind of birth control. Mm-hmm. So we knew what we was doing. We wanted to have, he's not a mistake. He's not an oops. Mm-hmm. He was prayed for and wanted. Mm-hmm. And we had a child. And this one that I admire his dad about. They wanted to do a test on me to see would he be can to be a Down syndrome baby. Mm-hmm. Anybody know that test could lead to a miscarriage? Mm-hmm. And I remember coming home and telling him about that test, my then husband, his dad, and he said, well, why they want to do the test? To give us the options if you want to abort it. He stopped right then, didn't want to hear nothing else more about it. We never talked about it. And I admire that man for that. And our son was born healthy, thank mm-hmm. God. And his dad and I unfortunately didn't make it, but when his dad and I separated and eventually divorced, I always explained to Reuben that this is not about you. Your dad and I didn't make it, but your dad and I both love you. And this man would call Reuben every evening. Mm-hmm. Every night before he went to bed, his dad took the time out and called her. And my son would always say, Mom, bring me either the house phone or the cell phone. I want to call my dad. And I remember teaching him how to dial his dad's number. And he would say, Dad, I want to be with you this weekend, and pretty much put the phone down. And his dad would know, and I would get the phone, and we'll make the arrangements, make it happen. But what I'm trying to say is that children are not something that you just have by chance. You have to want to have children, and you have to know that you're committed. Like you say, accountability, not only with your health, but you have to be committed to this child. Mm-hmm. And every job I ever went on, I told people, my first job is a mother. Yes. God gave me that opportunity. God gave me this young man. Yes. And that's my first job as a mother. He come first. And I thank God for him. His dad and I tried to be a positive influence on him. Mm-hmm. We did not let him go to just anybody's house. Right. And more importantly, we only had one television in the house. I don't believe a television being in a child's room. We only had one television in the house. And at the time we was growing up, I didn't have cable. Mm-hmm. I made a choice. I didn't want to have cable. Mm-hmm. And we watched things of Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo, how things are made. Mm-hmm. That was our entertainment. And we watched television together. What I watch, he watch. What he watch, I watch. And when we watched something, and if he didn't understand it, we talked about it, we discussed it. We read books at night when we went to bed. We had dialogue. We talked. When we was going to different places in Jackson, I would say, no, we're going to your Auntie Tony house, or your Auntie Felicia house, or your Auntie Nikita house, and they live on such a street. And I'm stop at the stop sign, and I would take a left or a right. And sometimes I would let him give me directions to where we was going. And more importantly, give directions on the way home. He needs to know where we stayed. So what I'm saying is that I made a commitment, and I asked God to help me to raise this young man. And I knew that, in a sense, that my life was second, his was first.
Mm-hmm.
He looked to me for everything, and more importantly, he was raised up in the church. Now, I used to tell him this is how babies came in the world. This is the story I used to tell him. Your dad and I prayed and decided we wanted a baby, and we prayed, and we went to Shepherd, who was our then pastor at 5302 Queen Mary Lane, Triumph. Moses Gibson, we went to him, and he prayed with us, and he called Universal Hospital to tell the doctors that we wanted a baby. So one day we got a phone call from the doctor, and they said, well, we got some babies here. We want y'all to come and pick out one. So I told Ruben, I said, your dad and I, we went up there excited to go pick out a baby, and they had babies everywhere, all down the aisles. On both sides was just babies. And your dad, we was looking, I was looking at the little girls, and your daddy said, no, Jennifer, this is the one I want right here. I said, no, Ruben, come on, let's look at some more. He said, no, this is the one I want. I said, your daddy would not let me look at no other babies. Your daddy didn't entertain the dog. And he would just grin and blush. And I said, we chose you. And I always reminded him that you was wanted. We prayed for you. You are not a mistake. And we're going to do everything we can to help nourish you. And we gave him a good environment. We got good people in our family that help in every school. Now, I'm praying. We are praying people. When Triumph, they had a thing called Prayer Warriors. When I was pregnant, I used to walk through the doors to our Prayer Warrior meeting, and those sisters would come and lay their hands on my stomach. And I believe in my heart, they was agreeing with me with my secret prayer for this baby. And God honored it. So what I'm saying, young people, and my nieces now ask me this, in all that you do, seek God first. Put God in it. God was involved in this young man being born, and then we helped nurture it. We took our responsibility as parents seriously. This is nothing to play with. And I tell my son now, he knows where babies come from. You don't take that lightly. And I tell him all the time, I want to do this for my grandkids. When he was 3 years old, I used to, if I saw a girl walking with a lot of kids, I'd always say, I don't want my grandkids like that. I don't want nobody to be walking the street with my grandkids. And I tell him now, he doesn't know his grandparents. Our parents was deceased. He does not know any of his grandparents or great-grandparents. But I tell him they love you, and this is how they love you. Because the things they instilled in me, I turn around able to instill in you. So this is a cycle that you're going to do for your kids. I expect for you to do for your kids plus more than what your dad and I did. Now, he has an awesome dad. His dad is involved in his life. Even though we divorced, but his dad is around. His dad is there for him. And you watch your kids. You see what their interests are. Ruben, every time the Rings commercial come on, my son's face, his eyes just light up. And he loved military things, uniforms. And I knew that's what direction he was going in. So, and again, my prayers, my thoughts to the Lord, help him in his adventures, his endeavors. Be with him. And every morning before he gets on the school bus, we pray. Because I can't see him. He's out of my reach. And the only way I could do anything is, Lord, be with him. And not only do we pray for him, we pray for everybody on that bus. We pray for the bus driver. We pray for the teachers, the custodians, the cafeteria worker, the teacher, the teacher assistant. We pray for the principal. We pray for everybody who had any affiliation with students. People who are delivering the milk, the school supplies. We pray for them. And we ask God to continue to bless them and their family because they are with my child. And you got to understand, I teach my son that you go to school to learn. You don't have any other job but to learn. If you have any issues, you come to me. And that's my job. But you go there, you learn, and you have respect for people. That's their classroom.
Thank you for saying you shared so many gems. I mean, so many gems.
So true.
But what I heard the most is that you made him a priority.
Yes, ma'am.
Like you said, that he was your first job, and you put him first. And I think that is awesome. And I think that is what you have to do when you have a co-parent. When you're not together in a marriage, and you have the father out that may be outside the home, you have to put the child first when you're doing co-parenting so that you can put whatever that might be going on between you two to the side so that child may continue to grow and thrive. So that is awesome. I also heard that you enforced his identity in who he was and who he is and what he wanted to do. So that is awesome.
Well, and I was going to also say, I mean, you did give us so many great nuggets. But it sounded like, you also said you started from the beginning, even when he was, still inside your belly. Because so often, people raise children and, you try to discipline them at, 12 and it didn't happen at 2. So it's kind of hard now, to instill those things because now this is the age where they're developing their own little mind and trying to separate from parents. So, I heard where you said that it started from the very beginning of sitting down with him, even as, a toddler watching Bugs Bunny or whatever. So I think that was really, really great. And it sounds, he's an awesome, awesome young man.
And Mr. Banks, what do you think that was the most powerful thing for you that helped you growing up that your mother did?
I think my mother kind of hinted on everything as far as her teachings, really. I think every day I had no choice but to remember. I always tell everyone that it's not exactly what your mother says, but the fact that she says it. Because if you don't follow it, it haunts you forever. No matter if it was right or wrong, you still have to carry out that action. And I have to live with the consequences if I don't follow it. My mother talked about everything from me growing up teaching about which direction to go. Well, when I made it in elementary school, I was able to tell the bus driver the whole route, which ended up paying off. We had several substitutes my 5th grade year, but I was able to tell the whole route. Then after that, it's about my identity. Well, when I made it to high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I made preparation to focus forward. Only thing that people were able to help me do was fine-tune that goal in which direction I wanted to go to. But it all started at home, my mother's teaching, not only that, my father's questioning and different things of that nature. And allowing them to make me become the person that I am, I think is the key trait that I think I follow every day. And my mother presented a good point about, she said that making kids a priority. Now I'm understanding that, as I'm growing older, and I have to reap the skills that both my parents taught me in order that I could prepare myself in order for when my child does come or whenever I do choose to have children, that I make sure that they have the same skills, plus more than my mother taught me, and I'm able to relate to them, not only what my mother's done, but the things that I have done to surpass both of my parents.
And you talk about there was much prayer in the home, and I can feel that as you're here in the studio. And I read that you pulled inspiration from the Serenity Prayer.
I did.
What is it about that prayer that pulls to you?
I actually got that from my father, and the idea is that my mom can tell you, I hate being at a point where I cannot do something about certain things. And that's been my goal. Every time someone tells me I can't, I'm always looking for a way that I can. And sometimes that's been my inspiration to make sure that I am able to surpass certain things. But I always must remember that at the end of the day, I get mad, but God is telling me sometimes that's not your battle to fight. And then let it be done. And then maybe approach it a different way. And you'll see you did end up having control of the situation. Even today I face certain circumstances that I wish I could just break the wall and it could go my way, but I can't. I have to constantly find myself thinking about, well, what did I do wrong? How can I redo this situation? Or if it comes again, what can I do differently? So the Serenity Prayer, I think like my dad said, keeps you grounded and allows you to realize you need to focus on the things that you can do. Don't worry about what others or what you can't do. And then when it comes times for those situations, then you can find yourself following in the footsteps that God tells you to do in order to make sure you make the right decision or the right choice.
That's great.
Before we move on, I want to just make sure people know that if you want to call in and ask any questions, you can call 601-948-5950. Mr. Banks, what do you tell other gentlemen who are your age? What do you share with them?
Recently, I actually did a program called Boys to Men Bowtie Edition. This is the first year this has ever been done. I did it under the leadership of Kappa League, where I'm the president. And I wanted to have an idea of answering that question. When I get ready to leave and go on, what will I leave behind? That's always been my question this last year. And I noticed we have this issue where one day during our coordination era, we had a couple of guys who couldn't put on cufflinks. Well, if you know me, every time you see me in a suit, I'm wearing to the T, cufflinks. I have everything on. You can ask me what type of shoes I'm wearing. The socks has to match the inside shirt. So everything has to be done. That's just my personality. So when I find a guy that doesn't know how to put on cufflinks, that concern me because that's an expression. As African Americans, I've often told we have style. That's the greatest thing upon us. And everyone admires that. Well, if you don't know how to let that light shine, then people would think you're just another one. And you have no expression. So in that program, I made sure that guys knew not only about hygiene, that's important, but also wearing a suit, what type of suit you wear, little knickknacks of what people do when they look at suits. Which one is your personality? Tie and ties, bow ties. Not only that, but the program is growing. Now we're going from high schools to middle schools, instilling on how to talk peer-to-peer education, resolving conflict. Because you meet people day to day, but you'll never know that what they may be facing, what you may be facing, and how to adequately come together to make sure the conflicts are resolved. But I think the biggest thing now is making sure people understand their identity, like my mother made me understand mine, about understanding how to wear a suit, which one wears. It's like a key fact I was telling them is when I do interviews for Kappa League, I look at the size of a guy's tie. Well, if he ties a wide knot, I'm thinking he's confident because most people don't attempt to tie a wide knot for the simple fact they don't know how to do one. So I understand that guy has preparation, he has training, he's tried to be eccentric to the idea of wearing a suit. So those are little key aspects. People like me that I've met, others on up the food chain, they realize and they see that. I'll never forget during my week at Washington, Chief Justice Roberts had made a statement that every time he interviewed someone, he would always bring in donuts. And the reason why he brought in donuts is because anyone that dared to eat a donut in front of a Chief Justice must really deserve their job. And he said, all the interviewing time, no one touched the donuts. But it's little things like that that we don't realize that actually make or break us.
Wow.
I also wanted to ask for any child that may not have a strong foundation in their home. They might not have the father in the home. They might not have the mother in the home. They might not have either parent. Maybe they're being raised by the grandmother. What can you say to those individuals to help them follow in the same footsteps that you follow? Especially young males who might be struggling with their father that's not in the home. What do you say to them?
We also, these are great questions because I'm combating these things also at school. We have a program that we started also at school called Clean Slate. And the idea is to help individuals like that may not have that figure at home to talk to. But my biggest thing is always find someone you can lean on. Someone once told me every step that you want to take in your life, make sure you have someone in that position so that they are, in fact, a mentor. That person being a mentor will be able to help you. And the idea is that them being their mentor, you always have a guide to go to. So find someone that's around you that's a peer. Many people come to me that are the same age but have questions that are, sometimes I don't think I have the capacity to handle, but let's figure this out together. That idea is always have someone in your corner supporting you. And if you need to, always make sure you're able to find someone that way. Never go in it alone. When you go in it alone, sometimes you lose your mindset and your own thinking. And because you feel you're right all the time, sometimes you don't know when you're wrong. But that questioning allows you to be able to get a second opinion, maybe even a third one. And that helps you along the way.
And Ms. Walls, what do you say to the mothers out there who are struggling to raise their children? What encouragement can you give to them?
In my household, with my son, no matter what issue we come up against, we're going to pray about it first. People say, that's all I can do, I'm just going to pray about it. We try to make that goal to be our first step. My son and I, we prayed, like I said, we pray in the morning. And when I sense that he's going through something, I'm praying. I'm at night praying and pleading the blood of Jesus. So I tell my nieces, pray about everything. Your children are going to face things that you may not foresee. Be prayed up. Help them prayed up. I can't say it enough. Pray. Pray. And it don't have to be, the simple prayer, Lord, just help me through this day. Give me the understanding I need to help my child. And I tell my son, it's been too many times that he talked about his suits. Now, when he was growing up, I would teach him. When he get dressed, put on anything now. Put him in front of the mirror. I said, now, you wear your clothes. Your clothes don't wear you.
Yeah.
Okay? Those little nuggets help him along the way. And we start out, we teach every day at home. Everything we have to teach at home first. And there's been times where I bought things, didn't know he needed it. And I tell him, that's just the anointing of God that gives mothers. So people always remember, God has your back. God has your corner. Mothers and fathers. God's going to help you no matter what. When you don't have the guts to pray for yourself, your children need something, they're sick, Lord help me to help them. And I have no doubt in my heart, he honors that. God's going to make a way. When you don't see a way, God's going to make a way.
Definitely. And I love that, and I love, seeing articulate young men especially. And my husband is actually a JROTC instructor with JPS at Wingfield high school. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but just what are your thoughts? I know, without going too much into it, but, JPS, of course, as a school district has had its challenges and continues to have its challenges. And, you're being a student right now. So do you have thoughts with parents and school? Because we know, teachers and staff can only do but so much because it starts at the home, and you got to have a partnership. So, this is a conversation we always have at home. Like, what can parents do? Like, what can parents come in and help with the school that you can, have productive, articulate, young men and women that are wanting to change their communities and change, the face of how people are looking at them. So do you have any thoughts on?
Well, I think by me working with JPS every day, I think we need, the biggest issue I think I've had with JPS is the understanding of being open and transparent. For too long, JPS has been handling things and handling accordingly of what they thought was wrong. But nowadays, I think living in the world we live in, it's better to communicate. If you're responsible for students, let's take the students' opinions and see what they think. Also the parents. And JPS is doing that now in order of an effort to clean up the backlash that's been going on. But the issue I feel is we need more transparency and involvement when it comes to the idea of if a student is in a learning environment, but other people are making the policies and they don't sit in the classroom, then how would you know what the student feels in the classroom? It's the same way for a parent. If a parent doesn't see what their child goes through at school, then how can a parent be represented in the policy making? So I think JPS needs to comfort all sides when it comes to that. I know it's hard. We don't live in a democratic society like we're supposed to, but the idea is if we allow people, even if you don't allow them in the discussion, but you explain why things are the way they are, because people like understanding. The idea is we will always chase an answer until we get an understanding of why, and it fulfills our destiny, our soul, and that's just simple psychology. So I think if JPS did that, we would be so far better off.
And as a parent, number one, I send my son to school to learn. You have no right to take over anybody's class. If a teacher give you a problem, you come home, tell me. And if I should have to go to a school, number one, my child is a child, and he's not perfect. I want to get to understanding what could be done to help the situation. And I tell my son, you go there, you follow their rules. Most teachers, when he was in elementary, had the rules on the board. You follow the rules. Write the rules down. We go over them if you don't understand something. But there's their classroom. You respect every teacher. You respect everybody there. If you have an issue, let me handle it. That's my job. And I don't go there and say, my child is this, my child is that, my child don't do this. My child is a child. And he still is. And he still makes mistakes. Whatever happens, let's try to make it right. What can I do to help the situation?
No, for the record, I want everybody to think I'm a child because I want nobody to get the wrong impression. But
he's going to always be a child in
your eyes, let's clarify that. I don't want nobody to think I'm 5 or 6 with that. Like, you're a lot taller than I thought.
Well, he drove us up here. So he's not a child. He drove us up here now.
Look, you want to be grown now, then you'll be like, I want to be a child.
Right.
May the 28th.
Look, sometimes I'm looking at the decision, wishing I could go back to 9th grade all over again. I sit in now.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Ross, for coming with us. And Mr. Banks, thank you so much for sharing your information as well. Yeah, I mean, I have learned a lot today. You have shared so many gems with us, and I can see the energy just resonating off from you all. And I know that had to do, like you said, with a lot of prayer and a lot of getting in the Word and having that foundation. And I can see that with your son. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for seeing that and asking me to come. Thank you so much.
And so inspiring. I mean, it's just great. I mean, and it's so great, peer to peer. Because, as adults, you can tell children something all day and they think, oh, you're old fashioned, you don't understand.
You will be amazed. You will be amazed.
But peer to peer, is so much better. You're actually seeing somebody your age that's doing something great.
And God answered my prayer. He's part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I pray he helped enforce some things to make changes for everybody.
Yes. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so
Thank
much
you.
for coming in.
Thank you. Again, you are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WMPR 90.1. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 601-948-5950. Again, today we're talking about parenting and mentoring today's youth. Next, we're going to be joined by Miss Aisha Sappho.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, it's Aisha. A lot of people do it. It's fine. It's Aisha.
Aisha, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Miss Aisha Sappho. She is the founder of Pearls Mentoring for Girls Incorporated, changing lives one pearl at a time. Please tell us about your organization.
Pearls Mentoring for Girls Incorporated is a nonprofit organization that I started in the state of Mississippi. Because I felt like we always talked about the problems, but no one wants to do anything about it. So I didn't want to be the person who just talked about problems. I wanted to do something to impact my community. And something that I started as far as like impacting my county, Holmes County, has grown tremendously, and more counties in the state of Mississippi are looking for us to start a program in their city as well. So that's why we started.
Okay, and what do you do with the girls exactly?
We do mentorship, mentoring, etiquette, life skills, things that we feel that they need in order to become young ladies who are going to change the world. A lot of people, and I just want to speak on this young man who was here. I just wish people outside of Mississippi could see that there is good in Mississippi. That we do have young African American women and men who are doing like tremendous things, and that just warmed my heart when I heard him speaking. But we want to we do all types of things as far as like mentorship and life skills and things like that, because I felt people in the bigger cities, the bigger states, they do all of this. How come Mississippi can't? And especially coming from low poverty areas like we do as well. Holmes County, that's where I'm from. We're like, if we're not the poorest county in Mississippi, we're one of the poorest. And people look at our county and think, okay, nothing good comes out of Holmes County, when in actuality it does. And then there becomes a stigma in the mind as a young person growing up that, okay, nothing good comes out of here. But we do have professional people that are doing great things that just moved on. But I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to stay in my community and help fix the problems that are occurring there. And with that, we've just grown and blossomed and all of that.
And what's the age group that you work with?
We work with 13 to 18, but we do take girls as young as 5th grade. Yes.
Okay, and is there any type of background that they come or school?
Not at all. We have, it's depending on the chapter. We have chapters in Holmes County, LaFleur County, Hinds County, Rankin County, and Madison County. That's our newest chapter. So just as long, if you're in the area, if you're outside the area, it has to be the parent who wants to see that change in their daughter's life. We have parents that travel just so their daughter can be a part of our organization. And again, like our mentors, they are phenomenal women. And people ask me all the time, what does it take to be a mentor? Anyone can be a mentor. It's not about your education. It's not about the different experience you have, because everybody's experience level is different. Everyone can learn from everyone. So basically, if you just have a desire to change lives, you can be a mentor.
Now, how can others sew into your organization? How can they help with?
We are actually having our annual Pearls Conference that we are so excited about. It will be in our hometown of Holmes County. And I'm super excited about that because we were doing conferences and galas in other counties, but I wanted to come back home. So if you would like to donate, you can go to our website. It's Pearls, the number 4, Pearls Mentoring, the number 4, girls.org. And you just go to the donate button.
Okay. And tell us some more of the activities that you do with the young ladies.
So one thing I think the funniest, I'm glad this is sitting next to me is one of my pearls, Derica. We had etiquette training. I remember when I was afforded that's another reason why I started Pearls. I was afforded the different opportunities because of my parents. Mm-hmm. So when I went to Washington, D.C., I knew exactly how to, like, which utensils to use, what type of conversation to have at the table and things like that. And a lot of my peers from Holmes County, they didn't know exactly how to do that. So that was one big thing I wanted, because I want the girls to know one day you could be sitting in this big area with influential people, and I just want you to be able to know what to do. So we had a dinner etiquette training, and we learned how to use a knife right there and a fork, what to do if the meat is if it's too tender. We just don't, not too tender, but too tough, know what to do. And so that was one fun thing we did, and I think the girls liked it because it opened them up. Gave them that experience. And we do lots of community service. We're a nonprofit organization, but we still sow back into our communities. One of our biggest ones that we do is the peanut butter and jelly drive. A lot of people don't know how healthy peanut butter is. And we took up the peanut butter and jelly for the senior citizens in our community, and just to see their light, like, oh, you all just for peanut butter and jelly, they were so excited just to have that. So just instilling in the girls to give back, to give back to our communities, to not forget where you come from, that these people, they're here, they're rooting for you. So that was one thing we did.
Now, what have been some of the obstacles you faced building this organization?
One of the obstacles we faced, I will say, it's probably fundraising. A lot of people have this bad stigma about nonprofits, and that's their right, because people have misused funds and things like that. Back in the day or whatever. So I guess it could be because they weren't fluent about nonprofits. They didn't know exactly what to do. That was one of the biggest things, because it's hard for us to be able to just open up and give them the experiences when there's no funds there. But thank God we have our board of directors. They are phenomenal. They support us to the T. Our mentors, our advisors, and our parents, they whenever it's time for fundraising, they go at it and things like that. So I would say that's one of our biggest obstacles, because everything else I think is just life. Like, it just comes with it. We just roll with the punches. So, business wise, that would be like the biggest problem.
And I think what you're doing is so great, because like you say, I always tell people, Mississippi, here in Mississippi, unfortunately, we're on the top of the list for everything bad, and we're on the bottom of the list for everything good.
Right. And again, I just wish people could just come and see we actually do have good individuals. I don't think anyone is perfect like anywhere. Yeah. But I guess it's because like we're from the South. It's just like a bad stigma placed on us. Yeah. But I just feel like if you find a problem, or if you know a problem, or you feel like you do have problems in your community, don't just talk about it. Find some counterparts, find some like-minded people, and do something about it. And that's what we did. And I feel like we've just been tremendously blessed. The girls have been tremendously blessed. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, even the young man before, being part of the solution and not just talking about the problem. So I think that's great. I know you talked about that you have different chapters in different areas right now. If somebody wanted to start a chapter, what would they have to do?
They could shoot me an email at Pearls, that's PEARLS, the number 4, EG @gmail.com. We actually are taking new mentors right now, and it's only one Saturday a month. It's one Saturday a month for no more than 2 hours. And so just that little time can help change a Pearl's life, just to see that someone cares. Not saying like our parents aren't influential or mentors to our girls, but it's just something different about having someone probably like on the same wavelength as you, telling you, just motivating you and pushing you to do what you're supposed to. Because my mom, she's my biggest supporter, her and my dad, and I couldn't always talk to them because, I just couldn't always talk to them. I just wished I had someone in my corner. Because like she was saying, because like the mother before me, she reminded me so much of my mom, like just the values and stuff that she instilled in her son. And it's just because that's the best way she feels as a parent. But I just wish I had that outlet where I could go to and talk to someone and tell them my feelings and things like that without being judged in a sense.
And I think it's a way too of getting back to, you know, like the old African proverb.
Right.
It takes a village.
It
to
takes
raise a child.
a village, and
So
our village,
outside of the
yes,
family.
and our village is huge. I remember when we first started, I was so nervous, but you know, I stepped out, and our first mentor, and I know she gets on me, but Miss Cashel Pratcher, she was the first person out of everyone to just say, I want to help. And she would travel from Jackson to Holmes County and Grenada when we had a Grenada County chapter at the time, and she would travel right then, and because she felt a need and things like that. So yeah.
Oh, great. Do you do like partnerships? Like I actually have a nonprofit, Ladies Living Well Incorporated, and it's for young ladies, but older young ladies, 25 to 35. And you know, so of course you're catching that age group initially, and what we kind of focus on is, you know, like interviewing skills and, you know, how to dress and, you know, the proper way to carry.
And that would be awesome because we do that every year. I cry almost at every meeting because I had them. Well, these group of young ladies, they came when they were in middle school, and now they're like 10th grade, about to go to 11th. I have some they're about to go to. They're heading into their senior year, and I got emotional. So we've been getting on interviews and knowing how to properly dress when we go to the interview, about the handshake and things like that. Certain things building a resume, networking. That's the biggest thing I can push because I feel like you can make it anywhere with the right context. It's not all about what you know; it's about who you know. I push that. All the time. So yes, that would be awesome because we have one workshop a year that's based on that. So that would be cool. Yeah. Look at that. See, networking.
and connecting.
I love y'all. I love you, babe.
Now tell us what are some goals that you have for the organization?
We've actually been asked to start chapters in other states, but I'm not ready for that yet because I feel like it's so much work to do in Mississippi. So my goal, I really want to be able to touch lives in each direction, north, south, east, west. I want chapters all over Mississippi, and I just want us to just continue to grow, continue to thrive, and just continue to feed into one another. So that's like my biggest goal. And also that my girls, that they just become successful women. I just feel like once we get them to graduation, and whether it's going to college, whether it's a trade or anything, if it's military, because I do have some girls interested in joining the military, that they just become successful women. So that's my biggest goal. And I feel like once I hit that goal, I just feel like I've done something.
Right. Now, would any of the ladies like to share their experience with Pearl?
You all want to say something? You all are not shy.
Okay, come on. Come on, girl. Come on. Introduce yourself. It's okay.
Hey, my name is Sharita, and I'm the president of Pearl's Holmes County chapter.
Okay, awesome. And tell us about your experience. What have you enjoyed about being part of Pearls?
Well, I joined Pearls like when it first started, and it was good because it taught me a lot of things that I didn't know. And like she was saying, when you're around other, not that the parents are not good, but when you're around other women or other people that you could talk to, it helps you out a whole lot, and it makes you feel more comfortable, and it makes me feel like that I can say what I want and not get judged, and get knowledge back.
Right.
Whereas if you tell your parent, they may not agree with everything that you're saying, and they may not help you.
So you feel like you can let your guard down and
the positive outlet,
right?
That's great.
And she wants to work in media, so you have to.
So there's some great practice for you.
Yeah,
to speak.
Come on, Lil.
My name is Derrica Jr. I'm part of the.
How old are you, Derrica?
I'm 15 years old. I started Pearls like 2 years ago. And ever since then, I have been enjoying it. I have met a new group of girls that, well, I already knew them, but, you know, it brought me closer to them. And I really appreciate Pearls.
And that's one thing we're instilling a sisterhood, that you don't always have to, I guess, knock each other down. We're all women. Yes, I just feel like we're already the minority when it comes to a lot of stuff, that we can help build each other up. That it's room for everyone. Because I remember when I started forming it, I was like, okay, well, it's already a nonprofit. It's already a mentoring program. Maybe mine's not needed, but I just feel like every organization, every business can give something different. It attracts a whole different demographic or a whole different type of person. So I just feel like there's room for everyone to grow, and I'm just thankful for this organization, because I just feel like every girl, no matter where she's grown up, her family dynamic, her situation, her zip code, I just feel like they should be able to live out their life, live out their dreams. So that's why we're here, and we just.
Now, how do you keep yourself encouraged? You have to encourage these ladies every day. How do you keep yourself lifted up?
Oh, prayer and my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I first started, my mom, she was like, oh Lord, it's just something else Aisha wanted to do, because I do, like, when I see something I want to do, I want to go at it. But just prayer and staying just prayed up, knowing that you are doing something good, because I can tell you, I tell people all the time, I know for a fact this organization was, the vision was given to me by God, because we've gone through a lot of trial, a lot of tribulation, and I just feel like we haven't failed yet. You know what I'm saying? We haven't failed. So my mom, she's my biggest supporter. She was like, okay. She was like, you doing this, you know, the boss got to do the most work. And so I'm like, yeah, I understand it. Then my dad, he gives, and I tell people all the time, it's not about your education. My father, he has a GED, and he's like the smartest man I know. Basically, most of my network contacts came from my dad, just from sitting at the coffee shop having coffee with someone. Right. So it's just those two. That's how I stay grounded, and also taking just some our time. I know before every big project, I take like a sabbatical, and because I have to think about myself. And when you were speaking, I was like, yes, sometimes you just have to step back. I know as women, we feel like we have to do this, we have to do that. And I'm not married, I don't have kids. It's just like I still have to do this that and move. And I was and just taking that time to just really just sit back and just reflect and clear your mind and take care of you. That's the biggest thing. I love them, but they know sometimes Miss Aisha gotta take care of Miss Aisha, because if I don't take care of Miss Aisha, then I can't take care of y'all. So yes, and I just want to thank you all for having us. You all have this outlet for individuals to come and speak on.
Thank you for coming, and please share again the information on how people can get in contact with you.
Really, you can reach us on every social media outlet, but you can go on our website, Pearls, PEARLS, 4, mentoring.com. See, thank you. Pearls, PEARLS, mentoring, 4, girls.org. And we're also on Instagram at Pearls, 4 EG. And that's how you can get in touch with us.
Okay, thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, you are listening to Women for Progress Radio on WMPR 90.1. If this is your first time listening to Women for Progress Radio and you want to learn more information, please go to our website, womenforprogress.net. And there you can learn about our membership if you're interested in joining. You can also look and see of upcoming events and more information pertaining to that. Mary, thank you for joining me on today. Now, is there some more information that you want to share? I know you just had an event with the Black nurses. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How was that event?
It was really great. I am the chapter Metro Jackson president for our local chapter here, Black Nurses Rock. which is a national organization. And it's an organization of RNs and LPNs, CRNAs, just mentoring and really empowering innovative nurses to go in and make a change in our vulnerable communities. So I am the president of the chapter, and we just recently celebrated 1 year of being a chapter here in the local Jackson area. So that was the event we had last Thursday at 4th Avenue Lounge. It was a mix and mingle as well as a chapterversary. And it served also as a fundraiser because just like Aisha said, of course you need funding to do anything. So we just really, we wanted to just let the community know that we're here and we're in this area. So we had a lot of nurses that come from Hazelhurst, Brookhaven, Hattiesburg, as well as, Madison, Jackson area, working in all different areas of healthcare that came in and supported. And then that also wants to join us. So if there's any nurses out there that want to join us, please, call us. You can find us on Facebook under Metro Jackson Black Nurses Rock. You can also reach out to me personally. My number is posted there, but it's area code 912-590-0288. But we're just here in the community, and just like I said earlier when we were talking about diabetes, it's our motto is who better to change. It takes a community to change a community, right? And who better to change our community than people that look like us, faces that look like us, the people that face the same challenges that that our patients face. So as nurses, we just want to be out there. We want to be on the forefront of changing the face of healthcare. Really educating, like the nurse practitioner said earlier, educating our communities on healthcare, on wellness, and just how to take ownership of your own health, and that it's just not about sickness, but it's about prevention and it's about health. So it was a great event. We just really had the community come out and support us. We had people from financial institutions that we partnered with in the past, churches, with health fairs. So we're just really looking to do great things. And we do have something that's coming up. I know we have a lot of time, but we're going to be doing a commercial with Dr. Quinn actually coming up on the 30th of March, the last Saturday, and it's supporting the mayor's Mayor Lumumba's initiative of a healthier Jackson. So it's Voices for Health, which is a choir competition or a group competition. That was the first one was done last year in October, and we actually Black Nurses Rock participated in that. So they're going to have that competition coming up, but it's also centers around healthcare and prevention. So there's like a lot of screenings. I know UMMC was involved last year, so they're doing like the blood pressure screenings and different things. So we're really excited about that. So keep an eye for the commercial coming up. So we're excited.
And tell people again, because we were talking about earlier the spiritual wellness challenge that you're doing. If someone wants to join that, how can they do that?
Okay, they can go on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, and actually it's on my personal page as well as my business page. But I'm Mary Williams. My middle initial is L on Facebook, as well as Pearls of Wellness, which is 2 R's and no A. And you can go on there, and I have an actual picture of the 20-day challenge, but I post also with just emphasizing what day it is and what we're doing. So you can go on there and you just you join in, and I also have created an event. So if you want to be a part of that event, you can inbox me or just, post on my page, and I'll add you into that group. So you'll just kind of be, follow along with us on that.
Now, do you still have your food challenge, food wellness, where you were doing the green smoothies and all that?
We were doing that for the month of February, and just kind of like the no sugar. But I do, even with my business, I do still have an ebook, which is a 7-day detox, which is with green smoothies, and also just beyond just the body detox, but a mental detox also. But you can get my ebook. It's also on my page, Pearls of Wellness, and it's also on my website, which is www.pearlsofwellness.com. And you can purchase that. It's just $9.99. You can download it or you can print it, and it's just a 7-day jump start.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mary, for co-hosting with me. I enjoyed you today. Thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
as we close the show, I just want to let everyone know that the downtown area, that there will be some street closings that will be at Mid Street, Lamar, Capitol, and West Street will be closing at 11 o'clock for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. So if you have some events going downtown, you might want to get there before 11 o'clock, or you might want to get there after, because they will be closing those streets at 11 o'clock. Thank you again for joining Women for Progress Radio on WMPR Radio 90.1. Thank you so much.
Thank you.